sense. It makes sense in the sense that it shows the strain, the stress that can also exist in each one of us between the calling of a predestined spiritual path and our limited horizons, our own poor self that is combating every day for survival of one sort or another. So where are we in that? Yes, and there is duality. And that duality is part of nature. That duality is part of the universe. And I would even say that that duality, or even more so, that polarity makes the world go round. And it's not something that one needs to stop, but something that one needs to understand and find that what belongs to God belongs to God. What belongs to Mammon belongs to Mammon, as it says in the Bible, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So how can the person make that distinction between what is spiritual awakening and what are all the individual egocentric desires? Well, the first thing I think means we have to sit and look. We have to observe, but not criticize, not condemn, not in any way which Orthodox religions have inculcated into us, this aspect of being guilty or a guilt complex. There is nothing to be guilty about. We have to see ourselves in that duality as having two energies, two forces. One is pulling us towards eternity, and the other one is pulling us down sometimes, yes, into matter, saying, yeah, what really matters is matter. That it's this life, it's what you do every day, it's how you get your money, it's how you get your boyfriend, it's how you get your girlfriend, it's how you get the latest video equipment so you can watch interesting webinars and so on and so on. That's maybe pulling us down into this level. And by observing without judging, we can begin to feel what is important and what is not important. And then each one of us has to answer that question. The school won't answer that question. I can't answer that question. But we have to be able to distinguish, as you quite rightly point out, between the ego, which is linked, here I'm just going to add an esoteric element of explanation, which is linked, the ego, which is linked to the higher self, and the soul quality of the rose of the heart, which is linked to eternity. And this is the combat, this is the fight that we may have to fight. But it's like Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, supported by Krishna, where he is facing armies of his own family. And what does he do? How should he react? Then he enters into a process of non-action, of non-combating, which we can call vuve, which is that way of non-being according to the egocentric desires, but totally being in terms of the growing soul. So yes, it's a process, and it's certainly not something which is given on a platter or a certificate or saying you've passed 20 courses in the Golden Rosy Cross, so you're now an initiated pupil of the Golden Rosy Cross and you're liberated. Rubbish. No, that does not exist. What exists is that each one of us has to go through that process, and I think I mentioned that once in one of our webinars, of purification. What is purification for me? Transformation. What do I transform? Because the purpose of a Gnostic and of a Gnostic school and through the whole of the tradition over thousands, hundreds of thousands of years, is to become autonomous being. An autonomous being is a new soul being, because an I being is still linked to his desires, to his wishes, and completely dominated by his or her actions. You see that? To move into that inner spiritual autonomy, where necessarily you will identify and find persons who are going through similar experiences. And that's where we